do in the European Union have a new European Commission coming in with a new Commission President, German lady, former Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen. We have a new head of the EU Council of Ministers, Charles Michel, former Belgian Prime Minister, and we have new European parliamentarians, and that's about 760 new, almost new faces in Brussels. So I think that there are several priorities that they should look at, but I really whittle it down to about 3. And the first of it is a very dark and dangerous world that Ursula von der Leyen is inheriting. And it's often said that the European Union is powerless and irrelevant in this world of geopolitics. Well, interesting thing is that this commission calls itself a geopolitical commission. So that's a message that they will up their game. And the obvious then reaction is, oh, but that means you're going to be a stronger military power. Well, I think in this world, it's not just security and defense that matter. Yes, they do. And the European Union is doing some work in developing a defense identity, a security identity. But the real strength of Europe today is its soft power, its smart power. And I think one of the things that I'm advising the European Commission to do is to build on that soft power. But how do you do it? So three areas where you need to work very, very quickly. With the, first of all, with what's happening in Syria, right? The Turkish advance, America's partial retreat, there is a great danger that there will be another refugee crisis, if you like, emergency, more refugees coming into the European Union as happened in 2015. So she has to work very quickly, I think, to develop a saner, a more humane and a more sensible refugee and asylum policy throughout the European Union. It's been so messy so far. Governments are bickering amongst themselves about sharing the burden of refugees. This is a humanitarian obligation and we need to do it. The second is, while we're working on the emergency, we have to think longer term, and that means developing a policy for migrants and inclusion of migrants in our societies, not treating them as minorities and not allowing hate speech and discrimination, and in the end, sometimes terrorist attacks on minorities to go ahead. And that requires cool-headed thinking by the European Union institutions. Second point, we live in a world of chaos, and America first, has really fragilized the multilateral rules-based order. This order that's been there for 70 years and has served everyone well. It's in tatters. I think the European Union, as a multilateral institution itself, has a duty to go ahead and try and bridge the differences that exist. And that requires a lot of dialogue. That requires talking to like-minded countries, of course, but also to unlike-minded countries. That means engaging with China and Russia and Brazil and India to talk and see what are their concerns, what are their priorities, and how can we include them in a new multilateral rules-based order where they are comfortable, where their voice is heard, and it's not just the West dictating to the rest. And I think that is very, very important. My third thing would be, let's work very quickly on internal strengths. Europe has a number of internal strengths which are sometimes neglected, ignored, sidelined. We have a very strong regulatory system. Our regulations, our norms, our standards for products, for goods, for services are valid and appreciated across the world. I think the next step for the European Union institutions is to work on artificial intelligence and ethics, regulatory ethics for robotization, artificial intelligence, the digital world. I'm very confident that if these 3 areas are touched on, of course the list of priorities is long, right? Really long, but I don't want to do a Christmas list, but I think these 3 areas are emergency areas where we need to work very quickly in order to ensure that Europe works. And the final point on these internal strengths is also to make sure that our own rules are obeyed inside the European Union. We've seen a dangerous emergence of populism, leaders who are breaching human rights in violation of rule of law, undermining the judiciary, undermining the independent press within Europe. And I think we need to be tougher on ensuring that our standards, our values are met by all member states.